We must be getting close to college football season because Big Ten hater Paul Finebaum is shredding the Big Ten again. Oh, you mean the conference that won the last two national championships? Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer. I want to thank you for making us our first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button down below while you're watching. You won't miss a single episode. Today, we're going to talk about Big Ten hater Paul Finebaum. He's tearing into us again. We got some Big Ten news. Maryland has a new basketball coach, some recruiting news as well, and we're going to power rank the Big Ten football schedules. Spoiler alert, I don't even have to do any research. Wisconsin, you got the toughest schedule. We'll see where everybody else falls in line. But first, Big Ten hater Paul Finebaum been busy ripping the conference's football teams again. And I mean, we need to put him in his place and remind him that the Big Ten has posted back-to-back national championships. But that's part of his argument, you know, when he says that the Big Ten is nothing more to offer college football other than Michigan and Ohio State. Happens to be the two teams that won the last two national championships. He also says that Penn State will never win a championship with James Franklin. He says that Indiana was a flash in the pan last year, and he says that USC and UCLA are worthless. He's ripped half the league right there in the past couple of weeks. It's been very, very busy. I've been keeping track. Just share with you. You know, I always wondered how a scrawny, angry guy who never played the game garnered such a following regarding college athletics. But over the years, as a writer and a radio and TV pundit, he accrued a big following. People south of the Mason-Dixon line generally seem to really like what he says. And if you don't know, he is unabashedly pro-SEC. Loves the Southeastern Conference. Everything's about the Southeastern Conference. And just as much as he loves the Southeastern Conference, he hates the Big Ten. He rips them all the time. Can't stand the Big Ten. We love the Big Ten, by the way. In fact, there was a moment, though. I did fall out of my chair back in January after Ohio State easily won the national championship. And that was on the heels of Michigan winning a national championship. Finey went on ESPN on Get Up, and he admitted to the whole world that the Big Ten owns college football. I mean, wow. Everybody was stunned. They asked him the question, they got the answer, and they were like, whoa, dead air, silence. What just happened? That had to be tough for him to say. But it was short-lived. We've moved on. He's moved on. Either that or Finebaum got amnesia. You know, or he became enamored with the SEC dominating college basketball or something, completely forgot about Big Ten football. Because in the last few days, he's been back on his anti-Big Ten rant, navigating through spring football. A recent caller to his show, and by the way, the regulars on his show are a piece of work. And by the way, they couldn't spell work if you spotted them the W and the K, if you've ever heard that show. But believe me, they were talking about the Big Ten, and they couldn't believe how the Big Ten was taking over college football. And Finebaum said, look, the Big Ten has nothing more to offer college football outside of Michigan and Ohio State. That's it. Top-heavy conference. Nothing else matters. These are his words. And it's such an old, outdated take about the Big Ten. Look, I mean, I'm old enough to remember when the Big Ten actually had 10 teams in it. So is Finebaum, by the way. And people back then called it the Big Two and the Little Eight. It was Michigan and Ohio State. That's how old that take is. It's like 45 years old. By the way, with the exception of the magical 2019 year with Joe Burrow and LSU, has anybody other than Alabama and Georgia done anything in the SEC in the last 15 years? No, they have not. Talk about top-heavy league. I mean, let's be real here. So now that we've clarified that, He also likes to harp on James Franklin and Penn State and says that they will never win a national championship. Look, the fact is the Nittany Lions have come up short in big games time after time. There's no question. Franklin, he has to own that. He does. But to say that Franklin and Penn State will never win is ridiculous, especially when they came within 3 points of beating Notre Dame, the runner-up in the national championship. The fact that they're loaded and talented again this year, got an experienced quarterback, they're ready to go. They have a pretty favorable schedule this year. The Nittany Lions are going to be right back into the playoffs come December. There's no question, no doubt in my mind. Penn State's a playoff team. If they're a playoff team, they got a chance to win it all. So to say that they will never win, that's ridiculous. And there's more. We're not done. He recently called Indiana a flash in the pan for their 11-1 regular season under first-year head coach Curt Cignetti and the Hoosiers. You know, the Indiana program has accrued more losses than any college football program in the history of college football over the last century plus. So that was what made last year's 11-1 regular season even more remarkable. It was one of the greatest stories and made to the playoffs, by the way. And by the way, you look at Indiana's schedule and the talent they got coming back this year, there's double-digit wins on this schedule this year. Indiana's going to be back. They're not going to be a flash in the pan. In fact, that's the opposite of a flash in the pan. And let's not forget about how he drills teams out west. Just a few days ago, he said Southern Cal and UCLA were terrible, which is nothing new for him to say that. And we've had our criticisms here on Locked On Big Ten with the Trojans and the Bruins here. Look, UCLA football is not in a good place. They're not. I'll agree with them there. But finally, he's gone really too far. He's called Lincoln Riley a fraud. Again, we've had some critical pieces here about what's going on at USC. I've never called Lincoln Riley a fraud. Last time I checked, he's won a lot of football games. He's had some challenges. He's won a lot of games and he's coached a few Heisman Trophy winners between Oklahoma and USC. You can't call that man a fraud. That's ridiculous. So, again, some criticisms are fair and legit. We cover 18 teams here on Locked On Big Ten, and we'll always call it the way we see it, which means we highlight the good and the bad. But Finebaum's hate shtick, it goes too far, almost weekly. Credit him for creating this little racket of his, this little world that he operates in. He cashes in on it. There's no question about that. But I would like to remind him, and listen closely, you can call the Big Ten whatever you want, Paul Finebaum, but my audience and I will call them two-time defending champions of college football. Take that for a while. Scoreboard, baby. Big Ten. Comments? Let's bring them. Love to hear from you here on YouTube. And also, be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below, and you'll never miss a single episode. And don't forget, you early morning commuters to work, our audio-only podcast of the same exact podcast on Apple and Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. That comes out 2 hours earlier in the morning if you want to get a jump on that. Don't forget to check out our website, talkbig10.com. It's the number 10, talkbig10.com. All of our podcasts go there, plus links for you to buy merchandise for your favorite Big Ten team. All right there, talkbig10.com. You can check that out. All right, we got a lot of news to talk about still. I'm going to get to all of this here in today's episode. The Terps have a new basketball coach. The Buckeyes get another big recruit moving forward. And we are going to rank all 18 teams by strength of schedule for 2025. It's the first time we've taken a crack at that this year. All that coming up here in 1 minute on Locked On Big Ten. Supply House. You get supplies that you need from a site made for the skilled trades. It's called Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product information to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. So if you need help with an order, Supply House has expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn to do so. Join the Trademaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, the promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com. Thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day. Thank you very much. And you everydayers out there especially. Meanwhile, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. It's free, and that way you'll never miss an episode. Plus, you can share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And check out our website, talkbig10.com. So the class of 2026 race for football recruits is heating up already. We've been talking about it the past few days. Ohio State got a bit of a surprise. A 4-star safety, Blaine Bradford, verbally committed to the Buckeyes over LSU in Texas. Bradford plays for Catholic High School in Baton Rouge. So LSU was considered the front runner there, and they didn't get him. Ohio State did. He's regarded as a top 3 safety prospect in the country. All right, now, Matt Painter, basketball. He likes big guys. Remembers 7'4" Zach Edey back in the day? Well, they just landed a 6'11" player from South Dakota, transfer Oscar Clough, in the transfer portal. He played 1 year at Washington State as well, and he was first-time All-Summit League at South Dakota. He averaged 17.6 points per game. So another big man coming to West Lafayette for Matt Painter and the Boilermakers. Now, let's talk about Rutgers for just a second. No big surprise, but this week, Dylan Harper announced that he's declaring for the NBA draft. And he's projected to be the number 2 pick. Cooper Flagg will be number 1. Dylan Harper will be number 2. Ace Bailey's going to be number 3 at Rutgers. So Rutgers is going to have 2 top 3 players. But back to Harper for a minute. He was 3rd team All Big Ten, named to the Big Ten's All Freshman team. Averaged 19 points, 4.6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1.4 steals per game. He also broke the Rutgers freshman scoring record. He was the 5th leading scorer in the Big Ten this year. So he's all set. His dad played in the NBA. He's ready to go. He's a 6'6" point guard or 6'6" guard. He comps with James Harden, actually. A lot of people say that. His teammate Ace Bailey is projected to go 3rd in the draft. And again, despite having 2 top 3 future picks on your team at Rutgers. Rutgers only managed a 15-17 record this year. I think people expected more out of them, but nevertheless, they got 2 good players on that team. NBA draft is set for June 25th in New York. And Maryland, they needed a new coach. They got a new coach. They hired Texas A&M basketball coach Buzz Williams to replace Kevin Williard. And despite getting to the Sweet 16, Williard was a very disgruntled coach at Maryland. His AD left. The name, image, and likeness collective at Maryland leaves something to be desired. It's one of the worst of the Big Ten. So he wanted out of there, and he took the Villanova job. Williams, on the other hand, has made 11 NCAA tournaments in his 18 years as a head coach at 3 different stops. He's had successful stints at Marquette and Virginia Tech and Texas A&M, and now he's going to be a Maryland Terp. So an interesting move there. By the way, Derek Queen hasn't said where he's going. Did you see him throw out the first pitch of the Baltimore Orioles game? He's coming off a phenomenal first year. Derek Queen, part of the Crab Five. He's uncertain about his future. And but now that the team has a coach, we'll see if he gets dialed in, what he's going to do after Kevin Williard left. So Derek Queen may go to the NBA too. He might do that. He averaged 16.5 points per game, and he's always going to be known for making that last-second shot against Colorado State to land the Terps into the Sweet 16. And 4 other Maryland Terps have already entered the transfer portal, including 2 starters, Jacoby Gillespie and Rodney Rice. So I don't know. I don't know what Derek Queen's going to do, but we'll find out soon enough. Also, speaking of Maryland, Baseball player Hollis Porter was named the Big Ten Baseball Player of the Week. 632 batting average, 4 doubles, 4 home runs, 15 RBIs this week. Career high 6 RBIs in one game. And his 12 home runs this season tie him for 11th nationally and 3rd most in the Big Ten as we speak. His 36 RBIs are 5th most in the Big Ten this year so far. Now, I'm going to talk about hockey for just a moment. Michigan State. They won the Big Ten regular season. They won the Big Ten tournament. Had a great season. In fact, they've done it back-to-back rows in both cases. Trey Augustine, one of the best goalies in college hockey. He intends to return to East Lansing again next season. He just turned 20. He's a young guy, 20 years old. Appeared in 65 games with the Spartans. He's got a 42-16-6 record as the starting goalie, a 92% save rate. He only gives up 2.55 goals per game. And with all the accomplishments that the Spartans have had over the past 2 seasons, he's been right there in the middle of all of it. He says he has unfinished business and he wants to go for a three-peat. By the way, his pro rights belong to the Detroit Red Wings. Meanwhile, his teammate, Carson Dorward, he signed a 2-year, $1.95 million contract with the Philadelphia Flyers organization. The undrafted 22-year-old just finished his 3rd season with the Spartans, scored 13 goals, 31 points in 35 games this season. So comments are welcome on all this, from Michigan State hockey to Maryland basketball and their new coach and what's going on over there. Hit me up with the comments. We always love that. Coming up, we always have a big feature at the end of our podcast. Mondays, I always have my top 10 Big Ten observations from whatever happened on the weekend. Tuesdays, we do Tuesday tweets. Wednesdays, we power rank stuff. And by the way, Thursdays, we look ahead to the Big Ten Network schedule. We highlight some Big Ten classics and live action. And the Fridays, we make our picks, predictions, or odds on something going into the weekend. But we are going to take our first look. We reserve the right to change your mind throughout the spring and summer. We're going to take our first look at all 18 football teams of the Big Ten and rank the strength of their schedules. Got some tough ones out there. Even if you're later down on the list, they all have tough schedules. Not too many easy ones in the Big Ten this year. So we're going to rank them. We'll see where your favorite team ranks. That's coming up in 1 minute right here on the Locked On Big Ten. You ever check your bank account? You wonder, man, where did all my money go? Between dining out and online shopping and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. So Monarch Money isn't like just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, your investments, your spending, where is your spending going? We got it all right in one place. So you stop just managing your money. You start building wealth with this. And what you do, you see where all your money's going. Like, oh, I spend too much money going on Friday nights. Everybody's spending money at bars or food, or I spend too much money on this. And instead of juggling multiple apps and paying your bills here with this one and that one, bring it all together. Bring it all together. And you could do that by taking control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com. That's monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year at Monarch Money.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
All right, on Locked On Big Ten, we're going to power rank the strength of schedules for the football teams coming up. This is probably do this a few more times as the summer goes on, as I continue to think about this, but let's do this. It's the first exercise of the year. I told you at the top, and I'm going to follow through with it right here. without even thinking about it, because I don't have to. It's not that I don't think. Wisconsin got the toughest football schedule this year in the Big Ten. They've got Michigan. They've got Ohio State. They've got Oregon. They got playoff team Indiana. They got a road game at Alabama. I mean, that's just half their schedule right there. It is brutal. I'm telling you, after kind of a lackluster 2 years under Luke Fickell, they just gave him a contract extension. It's because of this schedule. They did not want to get into a position where he maybe didn't have a winning record in year 3. And so they gave him a contract extension, so they have to deal with that because they do like him. But it's going to be tough this year. It's going to be tough before it gets better. So Wisconsin, toughest schedule in the Big Ten. I got Purdue at number 2, Southern Cal, Michigan, Ohio State. Purdue never had to play some of these teams because they were in the old Big Ten West and we got rid of divisions. They got Indiana. Notre Dame is on the schedule. There's 5 tough games right there for Purdue. I got Ohio State at number 3. We all know that they open up against Texas. They still have Penn State. They've got Michigan. They got Illinois, a 10-win team. Pretty tough schedule for the Buckeyes this year. Also, have you seen Northwestern's schedule? I've got them at number 4. They've got Oregon, Penn State. There's 2 playoff teams. Nebraska, USC. They got Michigan and Illinois. That's tough for Northwestern. That's going to be really tough. 1 more year before they get to go back into their brand new football stadium. So I guess they're going to be in that little soccer lacrosse stadium on the lake on campus for just a little while longer. A lot of these games will be played there or at Wrigley. Rutgers, I got them pretty tough at number 5. Oregon's on the schedule. Ohio State, Penn State, they're non-conference. Should give them a little bit of a break. They got Ohio, Miami of Ohio, and Norfolk State as well. UCLA has a tough schedule. I've got them at number 6. They got Penn State, Indiana, Nebraska, Ohio State, USC, non-conference game against Utah. Again, I don't know that UCLA is going to be turning things around anytime soon over there. Iowa, Kirk Ferentz, 1 win away from Woody Hayes, by the way. Indiana, Penn State, Oregon, USC, Nebraska. They got their usual tough non-conference game against Iowa State. Other non-conferences do include Albany and UMass, so that's a break for Iowa, but Iowa's schedule is tough. Got them in the top 7. Number 8, Michigan State. Have you seen their schedule? USC, Nebraska, and Indiana. They got Michigan. They got Penn State. They got Iowa. They got a non-conference game against Boston College. Maybe I should have moved Michigan State up higher. Oregon at number 9. They've got a rematch of the Big Ten championship game against Penn State. They got Indiana, playoff team, Iowa, USC. Non-conference games against Oklahoma State, and then the Oregon State game is always fairly tough. First half was tough this past year, but then they kind of blew them out. USC rounds out our top 10. They take on 10-win Illinois, Michigan. They've got Nebraska, Iowa, Oregon. And let's not forget the non-conference game against Notre Dame. That's going to toughen up any schedule. So those are the top 10. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, just because you're not in the top 10, when I got teams 11 through 18, I'm not saying they got cupcake schedules. They're all tough. They got to rank somewhere. Here's the next batch. I'm looking at Washington at number 11. They got a date against Ohio State, and they play both Ohio State and Michigan and Illinois and Oregon. Could probably move them up. Penn State at number 12. As I mentioned, the Big Ten championship rematch against Oregon. Iowa will be tough. Ohio State, Indiana, Nebraska. They do have an easier non-conference schedule. That's why they're a little further down on this list. They got Nevada, Florida International, Villanova in their non-conference. I got Michigan sitting at number 13. They got a date against Nebraska and USC. Of course, the Ohio State game. But then they got, the reason they're down lower, they got this easier stretch of their schedule. Purdue, Northwestern. They got non-conference games. They do have a non-conference game against Oklahoma. So maybe I should move them up a spot or two as I think this through. I got Minnesota at number 14 with Ohio State, Nebraska, Iowa, and Oregon on the schedule for PJ Fleck. Got the Huskers in at number 15, a date with Michigan, USC, Penn State, Iowa. But they also got a stretch of Michigan State, Maryland, Northwestern, and UCLA where I think they can win some games. Indiana, They got Illinois and Oregon, and also Iowa and Penn State. Maybe I could move the Hoosiers up a little from 16. Their non-conference are Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and Indiana State. I got Maryland at number 17. Again, making my point that even if you're in the bottom half of these toughness of schedules, they're still tough. Nebraska, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, non-cons against Florida, Atlantic, Northern Illinois, and Towson. And I got Illinois rounding out the bottom. Still pretty good schedule, right? Ohio State and USC. They do have a stretch with Purdue, Maryland, and Northwestern where they can get some wins, and their non-conference games are Western Illinois, Duke, and Western Michigan. So there you have it. 1 through 18. Let me know what you think. Did I get this right? I think I did. I like it. So that's the latest. Let me know what you think with the comments on YouTube for sure. Always look forward to that. Many ways for you to interact with us. Don't forget, you can interact with us on Twitter or X at TalkBig10, number 10. Our website, talkbig10.com, or our podcast, and you can get merchandise there from your favorite Big Ten teams and show some school spirit. Be sure to subscribe for free so you never miss an episode. Plus, don't forget, you early morning commuters, our audio-only podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. They come out 2 hours earlier in the wee hours before our video podcasts each and every day. So if you want to get a jump, don't forget we're on audio only as well. We'll be here on YouTube every day as well. So check all that out. Go back out and check another podcast maybe you missed. We're here every day. All 18 teams, Big Ten, news, analysis, and opinion right here. And for a second listen, don't forget to check out our friends at Locked On College Basketball with Isaac Shade and Andy Patton. That's the crunch time in March. This is where they excel. Check them out. Find Locked On College Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for joining us here. Can't wait till we meet again tomorrow. Tell all your friends about us. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman. We'll talk to you next time.